Welcome everybody. Welcome back to another Power 15 interview for the Home Builder Growth Summit. Meredith Oliver here, and I'm joined by the one, the only, Graig Lee.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I bet you haven't had like an NBA player style intro before.
Oh, we always love those, right? Yeah,
right?
the big intros, yes. I just need some flames to run through now.
Oh, that would be excellent, right? Let's get your builder right on that. Yes. So these days, you're in a sales management leadership position, right? Yes. A little birdie might have told me you had a promotion. You have a history background. You were selling on the floor in a model, and then now you're in leadership. So tell me about your background and what you're doing now in your current position.
Yeah, so just to let everybody know, I started back in 2004. Started selling, got right out of college, and was fortunate to get started with a big national home builder, Pulte Homes at the time. So I've been selling, on-site selling ever since then. Probably 15 plus communities easily over the many years right now. I actually eventually joined Toll Brothers, had a wonderful run selling lots of houses with them, and just recently took a position as the area sales manager overseeing the Southern California area right now. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey for me. I love the career, love the industry, and here just to kind of just share whatever your viewers want to learn, and happy to talk about my experiences and what it was like for me and what it's like for me in my new role.
That's right. That's right. Because there is a difference between selling on site, directly selling, working with customers, and then leading a team of people and helping them become their best at selling.
Yes. I mean, one thing that I always appreciate is my personal experience in the sales floor. I always think like, okay, if I was selling and, the manager told me to do this, right, how would I feel? So having that knowledge, that true, on-site experience, and just knowing what people do day in and day out to get the sale is super helpful. And I can really relate to what people are going through on the sales floor right now.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's a respect level too with your peers, because they know, been there, done that. Yes. You're not going to ask them to do something that you wouldn't do or couldn't do or wouldn't try for.
Definitely. Definitely having that knowledge. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So kind of jumping into our questions here, I provided every Power 15 interviewee with a list of questions, kind of let them pick which ones they felt most comfortable with. I love that you picked this particular one. So what keeps you going when we are not selling homes like hotcakes in a post-pandemic economy, or it's just not the best day ever, or it's slow, whatever it is? Like, what keeps you going in a tough market?
So, let's talk about a tough day, because we all have tough days.
Yes.
So a tough day for me is just when, as an area sales manager, the work is coming in at 1,000,000 miles an hour, right? Everybody at different communities, they're saying like, hey, I need help. Hey, this is the situation. And, hey, I need an answer on this really quickly. So when that piles up, that's a tough day for me, when you just want to be able to get to everything all at the same time. For me, what I like to do is definitely, you have to prioritize. You have to figure out what it is that is most important to the customers at that time, and also for the business. Once you kind of assess that situation, the next thing that I like to do is just to have laser focus on getting one thing done at a time. I've tried many times to juggle a whole bunch of things in the air. Like, okay, I'm going to start this over here. I'm going to start this over here. And then I'm going to try to remember to do this. And I get lost sometimes, and you forget, and you have too many balls in the air. So what really has worked, for me, is just to focus, get one thing done, get it crossed off, move on to the next one. And that helps me get through the tough day part of that.
I love that approach. I am one for sure that gets overwhelmed by the big list, right? So salespeople and marketers, builder owners, I mean, really, this is a good tip for any of us. And you know who, it's funny, my husband is really good at this. This is one of his strengths is getting, that big picture look at the big list is important, but getting that more laser focused down to literally that one thing that's in front of you at a time. I'm going to do this, kind of compartmentalize it. That's a great way to get through a tough day or an overly busy day or whatever challenges you're facing.
Yeah, that definitely translates to being on the sales floor too, because customers are going to come at you with a whole bunch of things, just a variety of reasons. And it's just easier to take care of one customer at a time, make sure that they're taken care of, they're happy, send them on their way, and then worry about the next one, take care of that one, and then move on. And that way, that you're generating good results for the people that you're dealing with at that particular moment in time.
Yeah. So when I just invented the name, the Power 15, I started Googling the number 15 just to kind of get what is the symbolism behind it, what does it stand for, and there was all kinds of cool historical references to the number 15. One of the ones that intrigued me, given that I'm here in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is one of the home of college basketball, right?
Oh, yeah.
We got Duke, we got University of North Carolina Tar Heels. We have some serious basketball that goes on here normally, maybe not this year, but normally. Anyway, it turns out that the free throw line is exactly 15 feet from the hoop. And free throws are interesting because you get to take your time. You get to set up your shot. You're not being guarded. There's no giant 6'7" person charging you as you're trying to make the shot. But yet, most professional basketball players average 50-60% completion on a free throw. The greats are at 80-90%.
Yes.
So this got me to thinking, what is the home building and not the Graig or your builders? Because I'm sure you and your builder are perfect and you hit all of your free throws.
Oh, yes, of course.
Of course. But what in general terms would be, do you think, our industry or a sales leader's free throw that we are not consistently hitting that we should be?
This one is very near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure this will resonate with everybody out there. So in the new home building industry, the free throw is very, very easy. It's the follow-up. Well, actually, it's the follow-up. It starts as soon as they walk through the door. It is building the relationship with the person as soon as they walk through the door. It is walking them through the model and being that service professional that we are. And then when they leave, if they haven't already purchased, is to follow up with them and just say, hey, how was your visit out with us? What more can I do for you? That is our industry's free throw line. You could do that all day long. And if you get that right, that'll solve everything right there. If you could just do that consistently with every single customer, build that relationship, be the professional, follow up with them, and see what else you can do for them.
One tip I got from an on-site agent in Texas when we used to go and hold sales class trainings in person. She is at the end of my follow-up class. She said to me what she liked to do, and I thought this was really smart, was right before she left for the evening, or maybe on a ride home using Bluetooth, of course, she would make a phone call to those visits that she had that day, and most of the time get voicemail and just leave a message that said, hey, You might be home comparing this floor plan, to this builder's special offer, to this mortgage. If it's all starting to blur together and getting a little confusing, or just like, what did I see today? Call me. This is my cell. I'm happy to walk you back through anything that now seems a little foggy. And I thought, how brilliant is that? Because it puts you in their shoes, because that is exactly what happens when you get home.
Yes, exactly. Everybody's going through that same mental process, and it's set up for you. It's always going to happen. And they're always going to be like, yeah. And that phone call at that time, it's actually always like, hey, I'm here to help. And that's it. Whether or not they need it, but if you showed up and say, hey, if you need service from me, I am here to help you out.
Yes.
Just be available.
And then you indicate that you have a sense of kind of like what they're going through, without assuming too much or stereotyping or anything, but just, I get it. It's a lot. If you have a question and you feel like you already asked, but don't know the answer to it, like, there are no stupid questions, call me. And I just love that. So salespeople, think about, how can you hit your free throw with your follow-up more consistently? That's a huge takeaway. I love that. And I think you're right. If somebody had asked me this question, that would have been my number one answer, would have been the follow-up. I think the studies show every time we mystery shop or we do anything, the follow-up numbers are just really poor, unfortunately. Okay, so keeping on our basketball theme here then, next question, what does a slam dunk day look like for you? When is Graig having the best day ever?
Got it. Well, I'll talk about this more from my role right now as the area sales manager.
Please.
A slam dunk day, something that I can walk away from at the end of the day and saying like, yeah, that was a good day, is a day when I'm out in the field and I'm visiting the different communities. I'm meeting with my sales team members, and I'm just connecting with them. I'm connecting with them, understanding, well, one, I want to make sure they're doing well. I want to understand the challenges that they're going through during, whatever's happening in the community or in the office, and trying to brainstorm with them and figure out different avenues of how we can solve different issues that are coming up.
Yeah.
I feel like if I can do that, and I make a meaningful impact, and I leave that office and the direction is pointed in a little bit better way than it was before I got there, I think that was a good interaction. And if I continue to do that again and again and again, the success will just grow on each other, and the team will be much stronger. So that's a good day for me, is when I can do that consistently with the different communities that I do visit.
Yeah, there's really no substitute for the one-on-one time where somebody can ask anything. They can confide in you. They can ask for resources. You can check and see how it's going, how they're feeling. If you need to hear about a family issue or something that's bothering or an obstacle for them personally or professionally, you can't do that in a group setting. Those one-on-ones, there is no email. There is no sales team group meeting. There is no substitute when your business is the development of other people than investing in them one-on-one.
Yes. Just having that genuine care for somebody's well-being, it goes a long way. Hey, I just want to make sure, how are you doing? Is everything okay? Because we're all working very hard in our industry, and we all put in a lot of hours. So we just got to take care of each other and reach out whenever you can and show that you really do care about them.
Yeah. I'm a big believer, reader, follower of Gallup research. Gallup does a lot of employee satisfaction research studies, and every single study, when they identify 10, 12 factors that impacts an employee's loyalty to a company, how hard they work, how hard they strive, how long they stay, number one factor every single time, not their pay, not their benefits package, their relationship with their direct manager, supervisor, with who they report to. It is that relationship that determines how well they do. It's like they can tolerate a lot of things if their relationship is good with their primary direct report.
Yes. Makes a lot of sense.
Right?
Makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, and as we wrap up and pull this together, no one could have predicted COVID. I mean, we just haven't been through it as a country or world in 100 years, right? I mean, took us all by surprise. And then to have a housing surge as a result, that took us by surprise because, you said you've been around since 2004. I've been around since 2001. I mean, we saw the downturn. It wasn't pretty.
No, not at all.
And so we didn't know what we were in for, but it turned out okay. We've had a surge. So what is next? What is our biggest challenge, do we think, moving forward? Now, keep in mind, you and I are talking early October. This is going to people will be listening to this early November, right? We have to pre-record everything. But what do you think moving into the rest of this year, next year? What surprises, what challenges, obstacles do you think are on the horizon?
So right now, the key word right now is just being adaptive. We have to adapt to the environment that we're in right now. So the challenge right now, it's evolving so quickly. A couple of months ago, we were evolving because we didn't know if people were going to buy houses, right? And you had to evolve. You're like, oh my God. And we all had to try and sell virtually, right? And the team of, kudos to the team. We all adjusted very quickly. Everybody got really savvy with their virtual selling very, very quickly. And yes, very quickly.
And impressively so. We didn't mess around. And I think part of that was because some of us had been around long enough to go through the negative time. We knew there wasn't a lot of choice here, and we knew speed mattered.
Yes. And speed was critical. I mean, I think, honestly, thinking back now, the team adjusted within a month, really. I mean, just like that. I mean, in the moment, it felt like a long time. Like, oh my God, everybody was scrambling. Everybody was trying to get access on their computers and get savvy with the different applications. But really, over a month's time, everybody started doing it and got really good at it.
I know.
So
I know. We took a collective deep breath, right? And it was we had that couple of weird weeks where okay, I'm going to buy all the toilet paper that is on the shelves and every Clorox wipe ever made known to man.
Right.
And within a couple weeks, a month, it really started to take shape. It is very impressive. So you're right, adapting. But what do you think, what stands in the way of people being able to do it? Because we say it, and I think we know it in here, but in our heart, I think we get a little stuck sometimes.
It's always fear of change, I think. People get used to doing something a certain way, and they're like, oh man, it's just, can't we just go back to the way it was? It was so, I'm good at that. I can do that in my sleep. I just know it's very easy for me, right?
Yes.
And the changing part is just the hard part.
Yes.
And, we just have to really come together and kind of understand where we're going to go. So the future doesn't look so like the unknown. We have to really just draw it out and try to talk to each other and figure out, this is what the future is going to look like. And this is how we can try and change. And that's always changing though. So you got to keep the communication up and just say, hey, these are the things that have changed. And this is what we're going to do now. I know that this is different than what we talked about, a couple of weeks ago, but things have changed and this is how we're adapting. And this is what it looks like now. So having that active communication, maybe within yourself or with your team members, that's something that we always need to be doing. We always need to be talking and always communicating what the future looks like with whatever's going on right now.
That's right. And when you have that relationship, like the one that you're building as a sales leader with your team, people will be more willing to open up with you and share their fears about change. And it's when we share with each other, when we're vulnerable enough to say, I don't think that will work. With all respect, Graig, I hear what you're telling me to do, But I have a concern about that. I mean, you as the leader, until you know what that concern is, you can't help them overcome it or give them a resource for it. It's just like when we're selling to buyers. If we don't know what the objection is,
Yes.
we can't handle it. We can't help them overcome it.
Yes.
And that's really what I hear that is so important to you in your leadership position. And, you know, to our audience, as you're listening, if you're in a leadership position in any part of the organization, your role is the development of those people and the development of someone, helping them to become their highest and best self at work is in the ability for the two of you to communicate and have a relationship with each other. And so I think for me, listening to you, I know even with my team here at Meredith Communications, I'm walking away from this interview thinking I need to put a little more time in with each of my team members.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll be the first one to say it's not easy though. You know, I know it's easy just to, it's not easy. It's very time consuming.
Yeah.
We all have to try and put in that time. And if you do, you know, those relationships will be stronger and you'll just have a better team, a better relationship with everybody.
That, and from a practical standpoint, honestly, think about the 25 emails, text, or phone calls you just avoided because you clearly communicated with each other what is due, when it's due, how it's due, what needs to happen. You know, yes, it puts some time on the front end, but I think it saves a lot of time on the back end too, don't you?
Yes, I do think so too. You know, sometimes, you a lot of communication going back and forth, and some people get tired of, well, why are we still talking about this? But you know, at the same time, that's a good sign too, that they know what direction to take, and you know, they just know through and through what the message is. So that's good.
Yes.
When you get to that point, then you know that, you know, you've properly communicated what needs to happen.
You've saturated.
Yes.
It's just like marketing. It's all about repeat, right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, for those of you that are listening in, he's way too humble to tell you, but this is a national, were you salesperson of the year?
Oh, okay.
What was the exact award? I want to say it correctly.
So I've had a numerous sales professional locally in Southern California, which was you know, a great honor, and I'm fortunate enough to have a national sales professional of the year, and also part of the national sales team of the year. So those are two awards that I'm very proud of, and you know, it's a great honor.
As you should be. And so this is somebody worth listening to. I'm not because of their accolades, but just because he has striven to be the best. He has set goals for himself. He's been able to achieve those goals. And that is what we're all after. So thank you so much for you took time out of your insane schedule today to invest in our audience and invest into the industry. Rising tide and lifting all the boats. And I couldn't appreciate it more. So thank you so much, everybody. That is Graig Lee, and we appreciate your time, energy, and contribution today. And stay tuned. There are more interviews coming. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.